so it's days like this. Hopefully you can hear me. That it is very difficult to come outside, as you can see. I don't have my dog because it's minus 30. Thankfully, there's no wind chill. Hopefully you can hear me through the crunching because it is seriously wild cold. But the sun is coming out. It's coming out, y'all. It's coming out. And I'll stop. Wish I had somewhere to sit, but I don't. I'm so bundled up that I can't move. My neck is like, I have 4 layers on. I have an undershirt. I have a tank top. I have a thin, really thin turtleneck. Then I have another wool sweater. And then I have my cousin's sweater. Today is my cousin's birthday. My soulmate cousin's birthday. She would have been 45 today. Last night I felt like crying. And you know when emotions come to you and you just either all of a sudden get scared, like I don't know if, holy crap, I'm leaking from everywhere. Hopefully my nose doesn't start leaking because I didn't bring a Kleenex. You know when you get emotional, whether it's at night and something comes to your mind and you're like, oh my God, that's so scary. And then in the morning you wake up and it's like that emotion has left you and it's not so scary. Or last night I was thinking about my cousin and the sun is not quite out yet. And I literally wanted to start to cry, but everybody was in the house and sometimes you just don't feel like you want to cry in front of people. Oh. It's out. It's just, what is that word? Just brimming right on top of the snow line. Snow line, not snow line, tree line. Anyway, and that emotion yesterday was so strong that I thought to myself, emotions are these things that humans have that are so important for our human experience. But it's so loud, sorry. But it's also something that I think that the masters of the world exploit. And I think that they've told us this over and over, that they exploit our emotions. For example, I don't know if anybody's watched The Blacklist. The Blacklist is a sort of one of the guys that's really, really up there in terms of power. And one thing that if you really pay attention to, not maybe the narrative of each episode and sort of the action-packed villains or not villains, murderers and shootings, but if you look at the overall message, is that he's never ever emotional. So I want you guys to see this beautiful sunrise. It hasn't been easy to get up in the morning. It's getting easier, but it hasn't been easy to get my ass outside when it's minus 30. When I saw that it was minus 30, I was like, oh my God, why should I go out? I'm so stupid. Why did I decide to do this? But I'm trying to keep that promise. Anyway, Red, the main character, if you ever look at him, he never, ever ever allows his emotions to get the better of him. And yet, and he would be considered like an elite, someone that lives above where we live. We live sort of on the surface, and he's like below the surface, where he actually orchestrates what the surface looks like. And I made a point to someone about that, about how we are, on the other hand, taught in our schools and in society at large through media and through stories that are shared, you know, being completely an emotional nightmare, like crying over the stupidest of things. Our ancestors would be absolutely flabbergasted, if that's even a word still, of how weak we are, how the smallest things break us down. But that's kind of just segueing into what I was thinking last night. I was talking to my mom, hi Mom, yesterday, and we were talking about how there are so, oh, oh, because I could hear my echo, even when I'm talking quietly. And I was talking to my mom about how, well, there are so many books and so many accounts and so many people that, I don't know if you're going to hear me, that basically explain and have proof. In many ways, there's a lot of proof to really get this theory supported, that there was really big branch breaks. And we do have a lot of moose on our property. So I would need to go to the loader very quickly because they're quite big, these moose. Like all over our property, there's moose tracks. Anyway, maybe if I go on the other snow, it won't be so loud because this is the plowed snow. So back to what we were talking about, and we were talking about how there's so much evidence. Although I do have a hard time crossing that bridge, but there's a lot of evidence that we are kind of managed. The human race is kind of managed. And it is managed in a manner where they need us for something. Like, for example, some of the proposed theories. I guess I'm not sure if they're theories or if they're not theories, if they've been proven or not, because there's a lot of scientists that actually have kind of made a very good case about this. Like, that these species of humans, and they might be humans, they may not be humans, that is kind of argued, part of the argument. And just come along with me for a minute. And because there are different species, they kind of rule us without us knowing. But they look like us. There isn't much of a difference between them and us in terms of physical looking. And there's been a lot of movies that have showcased this. And I'm not saying, okay, go and look at movies and believe what movies say, because movies are kind of like the Bible. They're more of a guide. They're more of a... That was creepy. Sorry. I gotta be vigilant. I don't have my dog with me. I don't usually go without my dog, but right now, his paws would freeze. It's -30. Anyways, So, for example, there's a movie called They Live. Now, this movie, as you know, is a movie where a man stumbles on these glasses that kind of reveal these humans that look like us, and ostensibly they live among us, but we can't tell the difference unless you put on these glasses. Okay, that is fictional. I would propose that that's not really a realistic way, but we don't know, because really, if you think about it, we can see a lot less with our eyes than many, many animals. And yet, there are so many things that animals see that we don't see. So there is a case to be made that we don't see everything that we think we do. That's one movie. Then I was telling my mom, there's a reason why I was thinking this. The other day, I made a short about the planes falling out of the sky. Isn't it weird how we've had planes for what? When did the Wright brothers allegedly come up with the plane solution? I can't remember. I don't have the date. I'll find it and put it below. I am having some problems with my texts, so I'm having a hard time putting things down below for you guys. Oh my gosh, the snow is frozen. I'm like on top. I don't fall into the snow. It's so frozen. That's so cool. Maybe it'll be easier walking here. Anyway, and so I, where was I? I was just so shocked at the snow. Oh yeah. So all of a sudden, in today's day, we've had planes a lot longer than we've had them in the past. So ostensibly, every single year that we have the practice of flying planes and all of the equipment that we've developed over the years, and yet it would appear that we are becoming less and less able to use these machines, whether they are trucks, whether they are helicopters, whether they are planes. So it seems that we are having all of these colossal problems being thrown at us. And I have to say that fear seems to be the main narrative. Now, if you look at the common denominator, it's fear. Fear because now planes are crashing in the middle of neighborhoods. And not to mention, here, I don't know how it is anywhere else, but if someone dies in a car accident and there's multiple deaths or it's a really, really bad accident, it takes anywhere from like 6 to like 20 hours to investigate. But guess what? Guess what? A plane crashed in Philadelphia. Yeah, it's a lot easier to walk. A plane, my nose is freezing inside, crashed. And they had it cleaned up in absolutely no time. Absolutely no time. Which is weird because you would think that a plane, it's not like a car crash where it requires, 6 to 20 hours of investigation. This is a plane. We're talking a plane that doesn't usually crash in the middle of a road. So wouldn't you imagine that because of that, and this is what me and my mom were talking about, it would take much longer to clean up, to investigate? You would think so. But no. They cleaned it up in, I have to research it and put it down below. I don't know, it was something like a day or so, which is absolutely crazy. So anyway, I digressed. Okay, so planes are falling out of the sky. We're having wildfires, and these wildfires are also on top of the fact that it's wildfires that got started somehow by nature simultaneously in 3 spots. I don't know if you guys have seen that report. There was 3 big spots that started all at the same time. Really strange. And it decimated so many people's lives. Decimated so many people's lives. And then there was floods. In the last 2 years, there's been major floods. And now there's also the attacks of human life with strikes. I will not be saying certain words because, of course, we have freedom of speech and we're free people that can't speak our mind. But you know, it's a new normal. What else is there? There's also now talks of immigration, people being completely kicked out of countries. Meanwhile, first they allowed them to come into the countries, totally not planned, totally not by accident on purpose. And everything is now converging at once. Causing what? A lot of fear. And that got me thinking, because I said to my mom, when you are afraid and you're put in a state of fear, like when we had the Operation C, everybody was terrified of dying. Okay, I understand dying is scary for most people. But guys, it's like the only thing that will happen to you. The only thing that will, without a shadow of a doubt, I can guarantee that you will die at some point in your life. And especially what made me laugh is the older people were made to be shaking with absolute terrified fear. Listen, I hope that when I'm 80, I'm not afraid to die over being human to my family member and to my fellow human companions in this world. Because life is what we make it. And life isn't about trying to stay alive for endless years. But I digress again. So when me and my mom were talking about this, I was saying to her, there's still a lot of crackling, I'm sorry. Crunching, I mean. I said to her, I go, have you ever seen the movie Monsters, Inc.? And if any of you have seen Monsters, Inc., you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen Monsters, Inc., I really encourage you to take a look and see if this doesn't strike you as true. Fear, the fuel. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's like serious branches breaking. Anyway, I should keep moving. Woo! Just to scare any animals. And, oh my God. Oh, this is so gorgeous. Oh, sun is coming up. I always hope to sit here. There's like a log that's broken in my way. Anyways, I'm gonna go stand in the sun because it is getting frighteningly cold on my legs. Anyways, back to Monsters, Inc. I want to remind you, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, sorry. But if you've seen Monsters, Inc., there's these monsters. And these monsters go into our children's rooms. And let me go into the clearing here. And they go into our children's rooms. And oh my goodness. I just want to find a spot where, oh yeah. That's the spot here. Oh, that's more better. I'll finish up here. And these monsters go into children's rooms. And I understand that this is a story. And they have all these doors to get into our children's bedrooms. And I just remembered I don't have glasses. Yeah, I would have fogged them up anyway. And they go into our children's bedrooms and they scare the children. And they scare the children into screaming. And this is their... Hi. Welcome back. So that was only like on my journey of journeys right now. That was only like mistake number 33. So allegedly, as it turns out, the phone doesn't like minus 30. What the hell happened here? Break. Something happened here. Squirrel. I just want to check for eggs. Hi, girls. Hi, girls. No more eggs today. They're just young. They're about 4 months old. And as you can see, something scratched here. I don't know what the heck that was. Anyway, break. Back to what I was saying. Hang on, I'm gonna adjust you guys just a little bit. Oh my God, the problems I've been having today. I mean, it's been one big problem today. Anywho, let me finish what I was saying because I didn't know that my phone had died. Come on. I had no idea that my phone had died. None. I was just talking away, and lucky for you, this reduces the time. So I just went to make changes. I went home. Quick story, because we never get straight to the point. I got home and I was fine, but I didn't realize how frozen I was. It's not until like an hour ago that I started being warm again. I was cold for the entire day. Like the sunset has already, if you can see, there we go. Double checking that this thing is still working. It's only like minus 20. It really warmed up. And I was just not aware that you probably shouldn't have the cell phone out at 30. So I think I'll think better than to next time. Record at minus 30. Anyway, back to the Monsters, Inc. Ostensibly, what that movie talks about is that monsters, and I would say that the masters of the world are monstrous, so it's really not that far-fetched. And basically, monsters require our fear so that they can have energy. And in this case, it was literal energy. Like they literally stored them in tanks like propane cylinders or something to that effect. And they literally needed it for their grid. In the Matrix movie, the monsters are, wait for it, AI. And who came up with AI? Oh, the multi-billionaires that are now clicking into place, I may add. And in this movie, it shows how they feed off of fear. That brings me all the way back to my initial point, if anyone got it in the first place, because I do meander a lot, and I do apologize. I am trying to learn how to be a better speaker, how to be more to the point. Very difficult. My brain just doesn't work that way. But these people that may or may not be exactly human. My mom's opinion is that who knows if they're human, period, end of story. At this point, it's maybe more of a strong belief from within, is that they are a different type of species of person, but not necessarily like an alien, but more or less a breeded version, like a species of dog that primarily breeds in psychopathy. So, right now, ostensibly, we're at a time where so many people are psychopaths, but they're not true psychopaths. Because we live in, I would argue, a very psychopathic environment. Everybody is about me, me, me. When I looked at the video of myself this morning, I was so frozen. I'm like literally swollen. And God, I should like scrap that video because I'm not my best self. But I will say every one of us has, vanities in one way or another. And that, I think, I would argue, is because of our deeply ingrained psychopathy from these psychopaths. And that's why I think that maybe they're not different species, but they've bred themselves so specifically to be psychopathic and not to care for humanity and not to care that they need to thin the herd or, that they need to mandate things that will ultimately result in thinning the herd. Any normal person that isn't a psychopath or sociopath, even if they've been bred in this psychopathic society, still will have an ounce of moral indignation, righteous indignation, guilt. And maybe they'll fall in love with someone that they cannot see having to do this to, or have a child. Like I kind of think like Simon Cowell, that guy's nasty. But apparently, what? Come on. But apparently, since he had his son at like 75 million years old, he became more human, more kind, softer, that kind of thing. All I'm saying is this stupid stick really annoys me. Maybe it doesn't like minus 20 degrees. All I'm saying is there is a lot of evidence and maybe counter evidence that the people that are our masters are not like us. And I mean, not at all. And to be honest, I don't know if like they're aliens or not, but I will tell you one thing. Alan from Cutting Through the Matrix does highlight a very, I went on the dog tracks instead of my tracks, does showcase or reveal ancient books that state that these people that are the psychopaths, that are the masters, came from the gods. Like, like Hercules had Zeus as a dad, but then somehow, I don't even remember the story, to be honest with you, if he fell or whatever happened to him, that he ended up on Earth. And the story goes that these gods were kind of like Hercules, where they came and as a punishment they were put on Earth, and they came here and unfortunately they had to mate with us because there was no other option. And now they're trying to basically get back to their godhood through mating. And that's why they need to procreate in a very specific way. Like the masters, the people that run the planet, they don't just mate like we do. They think what we do is absolutely disgusting and not thought out. Like that we just procreate with someone we love and we don't look at their genetics, their IQ, and so on and so forth. So all that to say is that they tell us this stuff in the documentaries called movies. Now I understand that it's really hard to believe this freaking lady walking around, you know, can't catch her breath. But if you just think about it for a minute, everything is happening all at once in a time where I'm sure that we can agree on that this is now becoming a system error everywhere. You know, boats are crashing, planes are crashing with helicopters. Like, I want you to think about the logistics of that alone. And people are dying in hundreds and thousands. Children. There is right now what's happening in the Middle East is, I can't use the word, but it's huge amounts of just devastating life loss that is, if we do not all rise up and say enough, we had this discussion, the bully will eventually come to our door and no one will be left to protect us. So in understanding that this fear mode that we're going into is specifically designed for them to benefit somehow, whether it's to manipulate us easier or whether it is like Monsters Inc. or The Matrix for us to become batteries somehow. Now, I have no idea how that works because I'm not a psychopath or an alien or a god, part god, however the story goes. But if you go to Cutting Through the Matrix, actually, Alan has a book, three books. I'm happy to say I have all three, thank God. And I actually got it before he died. 4 days before, the day I got the books, the day that I got a note from Alan, I found out he died 4 hours later. That was where the 4 came. Odin, come. Let's go. So now it's evening. I came back to finish up my thought because that was, like I said, like the 33rd fail I've had doing videos. And I am telling you, I have a story because this video, the first part of it, was completely lost. And I'm going to talk about that because that was a very scary thing about technology. But needless to say, that was kind of what I was thinking about fear and how is it done on purpose that we are put in this fear mode? Is there some sort of benefit to someone? And if there is, who is that and what benefit? Because like I said, when they have rituals where they sacrifice, the virgin, or they sacrifice the lamb, which is kind of funny because they call it sheeple, and the common sacrifice is the lamb. I don't know if you guys ever think about these things, because I think most people, like for example, today I was listening to Alan while I was making dinner, and he said something very profound, as he always does. It's just you're not always ready to hear him. He said, if the basic thing, like if you don't understand that the right and left are working together, you're utterly lost. So if you don't even want to consider that that's a fact, and that is a fact, ladies and gentlemen, boys and squirrels, as my friend Johnny Bravo would say. I love Johnny Bravo. If you ever want to get financial sort of, and and laugh. He's a comedian, but he talks about finances in the most hilarious way. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Anyway, squirrel. that's basically it. You're on the wrong channel. You're listening to the wrong broad. And I want to make money, but not that bad. And I just feel like if you don't understand that very basic idea, that basically it doesn't matter if Biden or Trump are in power, the agenda will continue exactly in the same way. And if you don't understand that, there's nothing more you're going to get from me, that's for sure. Because you do have to understand that very basic fact. Anyways, as I was saying before, I had a major malfunction of my equipment. I haven't figured out a way to say goodbye, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Thanks for listening if you made it this far, and I look forward to chatting with you next time. Mwah.